And we're on. Introducing Almog Apirion, co-founder and CEO at Cyolo, a solution that secures remote access to critical systems for both industrial and enterprise organizations. Almog, welcome on the show, man.
Joseph, it's great to be here. I'd love to introduce myself. So I'm one of the founders and the CEO of Cyolo, which is a secure access company, but I'm also a recovering CISO. I was a CISO in a global corporate in the hardware industry for 6 years, and prior to that, I spent 15 years in the Israeli Navy. And in my two last roles, I was the officer in charge of security for both IT and combat systems. And the last role was around being in charge of cybersecurity for the Navy as a whole. So yeah, I'm coming from the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it feels like I know you already, Almog, because I'm following you on LinkedIn and see your jet setting all around the world at the moment. How was S4 last week or 2 weeks ago? Yeah.
Amazing.
How was it?
Yeah,
Great.
last week, great event. Great event. It's more focused around OT, but great event. A lot of good interactions with prospect customers and partners. Really enjoyed being there. I think that there's something happening in the OT space. Very, very interesting trend that is happening nowadays, and it's pretty clear. And mainly around access. I think that a lot of industrial environments were kind of, let's call it air gapped, or I think that it's kind of security by obscurity because there's no real air gap. But I think that a lot of organizations felt comfortable that they are disconnected from the internet. But then COVID came, and all of us had to connect everything in order to keep the business running, and no one is turning back. So OT environments are hyper connected right now, and it's great because it can bring a lot of efficiency and a lot of great benefits, including AI, by the way, but it comes with high level of risk. So this is what we're doing in Cyolo, basically. We're dealing with the access scenarios that are required to the business to do its core function. But these access scenarios are usually coming with high level of risk. I'm talking about shutdown of manufacturing floors, leakage of customer data, and even things that can explode and risk human life. So something is definitely shifting there, and it's really interesting to be part of the transition. So
yeah, absolutely. The OT security space is one I'm particularly fascinated by. So we've got a few clients within the space like Dragos, and it's really timely actually. I think I saw Nozomi earlier took like another 100 million, I think Clarity a couple of weeks ago. And as you say, to safeguard like critical infrastructure and like you even said, human life. So very, very important. Before we talk a little bit more about Cyolo, I'm really curious as to your experience as a CISO and how that has potentially helped in launching your own startup. Can you just talk to me a little bit about that? How do you think that's helped?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that our solution came from the field in general, and it's not only me. I have two co-founders, Dedi and Eran. Both of them are very talented security researchers and experienced penetration testers, basically. So I did this transition towards this modern approach of secure access. I think that around 9 years ago. I'm talking about zero trust. This term is it's either you like it or you're kind of allergic to it. But the basic principle is that we need to connect verified identities to applications, and we shouldn't connect users to networks anymore because of the risk. And on the other side, I'm not familiar with one organization that came to the security or to the IT or OT department and said, hey, we want these users to connect to the network. No, it's all about connecting people to work, basically. So I did this transition towards the modern approach of access, and I looked at a lot of vendors, and I looked at a lot of vendors that were out there, and I had one question that I asked all of them. Can you guys access my network without any of my team members even familiar with it? So I had a lot of long answers. We have SOC 2 and ISO 27K. We never did something like that. So again, I had to refine my question. I didn't ask if you want to do it. You absolutely don't want to do it, right? But can you do it? Because you guys are holding my credentials, access policies, and encryption keys. So you most probably can do it. And then incidents like SolarWinds, FireEye, and others came, and a lot of organizations understood that zero trust means zero trust, not to put all of your trust in the vendor's hands, not because we shouldn't trust vendors. It's mainly because of the fact that there are things that you cannot protect from, right? There's no such a thing as 100% security. I've never met organization that achieved 100% in awareness. When in my previous role as a CISO, we were doing something that we called cyber drills, which is basically phishing drills that were, or phishing campaigns that were successful in other places. So we took them in and practiced our users. And when I started my role, I came from the Navy to the corporate. I started my role. So my team was able to do credentials harvesting to 40% of the users in 12 hours. Like 40% of the users just gave them the credentials, right? And after 5 years, a lot of hard work, a lot of investment, this number dropped from 40% to 4%. But the bad guys, they just need one in order to get in. And the other piece is something that is mathematically proven. There's no code without bugs, which means that there's no software without vulnerabilities, right? So it's mainly because of the fact that I think that vendors that are holding the keys and the doors to all of their customers are just transforming themselves to a very appealing target for attackers because they can hack once and get them all, basically. So this is something that we wanted to avoid from, and this is the reason that we created a very cool technology that is kind of let's call it working on a perception that is pretty similar to Web3. We are providing distributed access solution with central management, and our solution is cloud routed. It's not cloud hosted. And one of the reasons to do so, also something that kind of coming from my background or from my previous experience. So I was a customer of solutions like Cyolo for more than 15 years. I met a lot of vendors. I met a lot of startups. And this general story that I heard mainly from early stage companies or young startups. So the story goes like this. Hey, Mr. CISO, the world out there has changed, and we are supporting the new world's problems. So just do a small thing, change our existing environment to work with us, but don't worry, we are the future anyway. When I heard this story, I felt that I'm not understood.
Mm-hmm.
I was struggling with my CFO to get maintenance windows to upgrade systems. Organizations are being attacked from things that they know they can't fix them, right? So I think that every company in the world that wants to do a big transition, and we do a big transition, we're changing the way people connect to their work from something that is based on IP addresses, perception of private networking, to something that is based on identities. It's not an easy transition. So in order to do a big transition like that, the only way to do it, in our opinion, is to support organizations from their existing state, to give them value at their existing state, to hold their hands and to take them towards the place that they want to get to. And this is the reason that our technology can fit to any existing environment, and we can work with any type of application, not only remote access, but also access from within the network, not only unmanaged devices, including managed devices. And not only Active Directory or not only SAML or not only Okta, any identity infrastructure that you have out there, because big organizations, all of them are hybrid. They have cloud connected environments, they have cloud averse environments, and they even have offline environments. And in OT, we see it quite a lot. So to deal with this multi-generational environment, we had to invent some new technology that can fit any existing environment. It was not easy. It was a bold decision that we took back then in February 2020, just a month before the world flipped upside down with COVID, and now it pays off. And I think that this flexibility and the fact that you can provide something that is really Lego-like and can fit any existing environment, it's a great advantage, because specifically, if thinking about OT, when we started the conversation talking about OT, so these environments were air-gapped. Now they're not anymore. They're open to the internet, and they're evolving right now, because a lot of automation vendors like Honeywell, GE, Schneider, ABB, all the automation giants that are, selling and delivering all the machinery, they're opening the OT space to the cloud. If you want to get preventive maintenance or some insights or AI. So the fact that this space is really evolving right now, combined with our flexibility and our ability to fit any existing environment and to take our customers from wherever they are in their cloud journey, I think that it's a good combination that we see that is getting really good value.
It's also fascinating that a lot of the OT environments are really legacy, like old as well. And so what specifically, how would you describe remote privilege access management? Because it's a term I hadn't heard of before, checking your website.
Yeah. So secure access in general, right? Like there are a lot of access scenarios. Organizational users, they connect to a lot of different information systems, or like computer systems, let's call it like this. We are dealing not with all the access scenarios. We are dealing with the access scenarios that are required to our customers' business in order to do their job. For example, the biggest packaged goods company in the world. So we're talking about 120 sites. And the first use case was to connect third parties and employees to the computers that are in charge of their chocolate manufacturing process, right? If they cannot manufacture chocolates, they cannot do their job, right? On the other side, these access scenarios are coming with high level of risk, right? When someone is connecting remotely to your industrial floor, it can do a lot of damage, and it's not necessarily something that can be malicious. I'll give you an example from my previous life. Safety is a big thing here. Try to think about someone that is fixing something in one of the robots, one of the machinery, while this device or machine is being remotely accessible and moving and operating while someone is on the machine. It can risk this technician's life, and it happened in my previous company. Someone lost his life because he was maintaining a machine. So yeah, and obviously when you think about malicious access, so the sky's the limit. And I do want to think about a future that our kids will have water, electricity, they can count on the banking system and things like that. So I do feel that again, it's all about prioritization. As a former security leader, you cannot protect everything. There's no such a thing as 100% security. So you need to concentrate on the things that are fixing your biggest problems at the end of the day. So this is basically what we are doing. And what we're seeing there around this remote privilege access is that in a lot of cases, organizations are holding quite heavy tech stack because everything is kind of multi-generational just to mitigate this risky access. They have some kind of an access solution that is like VPN with a bunch of jump boxes, but they have recording or session recording capabilities and a vault and application security and file transfer and the ability to log everything and to ship everything to your SIM. And from the user experience point of view, it's not so good for your employees. Let's call it productivity. In one of the organizations, we replaced a tool that when an end user had to connect, he had to satisfy multiple controls, but also to do 7 logins. I repeat, 7 logins just to connect to a specific resource, right? I would bypass this system instead of the end users, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I saw Gartner. I've got a quick stat here. It said by 2026, applying least privilege principle approaches to remote PAM would reduce risk exposure by about 50%. Is that about right?
Yeah, I think first of all, like we did what we're doing right now, not because there was a market called remote PAM. We listened to our customers and we listened to their needs, and this is the reason that we added these capabilities, because it came from hard requirements of our customers. Again, to mitigate risky access is the big thing. I think that the human factor is something that you find in any security standard, right? It's kind of funny, like computer systems were designed and built to serve us humans, and human beings are the biggest risk on computer systems. So we are dealing with the human factor, and we are dealing with the human factor specifically around the places that can create, enormous damage.
Yeah. There was a case, I think it may have been last month now, in Hong Kong, where someone, I think a worker, transferred 25 million to like a fraudster pretending to be like an executive of a company. You mentioned about it being a like employee or human risk, like you're so true, because I think the stats behind it are crazy when you look at it about the risk associated to it. How like particularly with like generative AI and being able to do this whole now deep fake thing, how is that evolvement gonna impact your customers, and from your perspective as a CISO, the product for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So when thinking about Gen AI and the sophisticated, ways to impersonate other people, I think that first and foremost, we need to limit the ability to steal users, right? If someone will say, "Hey, I'm Almog," using some kind of Gen AI tool, so it's really, really important to limit the ability to steal a user, to limit the ability of what the user can access to, what the user can do while it's connected. Because at the end of the day, all of these tools will get to a point that the attacker will ask your user, right? Or will try to use a stolen user. So to limit what user can do and to provide a lot of controls and a lot of oversight on top of it is something that is really important. And this is also something that kind of emphasized the point around verified identities versus users, right? A lot of people are using generic accounts, right? We need to tie in the persona behind this access request. Over the internet, nobody knows you're a dog, right? So it's right here as well. So we want to know who is the person, not who is the user, and we want to make it really hard to steal this identity's privileges. So this is the reason that we are dealing with verified identities to applications, because this is what the business needs. And on the other hand, it's all about identities. Identity is the new perimeter. And even with the most sophisticated impersonation attack, you need to get to some kind of a user or identity that you can steal in order to get in. So this is the obvious connection that I see around that.
What's Cyolo Pro as well? Am I right in saying that you launched something last week at S4, timely for this interview?
Yeah. So Cyolo Pro is a remote PAM solution that is adding 3 very important capabilities on top of the standard that Gartner published at December 28th last year. We obviously have all the capabilities that are required in order to be remote PAM, but also our solution is basically hybrid software that can run at any existing environment. And I think that specifically to our customers, it's very much important from all the reasons that we talked about. Their space is changing. The other thing that we're putting on top of remote PAM is our ability to converge identity and to bring modern identity into OT. One of the stories that we hear quite a lot is hey, something happened last Friday, 3 a.m. and we did an investigation, and apparently it's operator one. Who is operator one, right? It can be so many people. So we just talked about the importance of tying each and every user to a specific persona and to enforce multi-factor authentication and things like that. So we are bringing identity into OT, into the Purdue model. And the third item, I think that is the most important than everything. The lowest cost of change. Change management is the biggest enemy of security. The fact that we can coexist with any legacy solution is something that is really valuable. And I saw it. I did VPN replacement or secure access replacement twice in my career. You always have this cutoff date, right? That you need to do user training, you need to change a lot of infrastructure, setup that you need to put there, like routing and all of this stuff. And it's frightening because you need to cut the cord. With Cyolo, we can coexist with any existing solution, and our customers can migrate users and systems gradually, and it makes it way more digestible and manageable for them.
Love it. Man, we could talk for hours, but what's the future, man? What's the future for you guys in Cyolo?
So we are hardcore on access, and we're dealing with the riskiest access scenarios, but Cyolo is an access company that was built to provide better security, better operational agility, and better user experience. And this is what we are doing and about to do more and wider.
Love it. Well, best of luck for the future, Almog, and thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed today's show, please like and share with your friends and colleagues, as this is really important for the show's reach. If you'd like to be our next guest or are interested in Aspiron Search's staffing solutions, please get in touch directly with me or reach out to us via our website www.aspironsearch.com.